reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 237. I am Chris, wandering across the plains of Tyria. I'm joined by my daredevilish and dead on the ground friend, Mr. at MMO Bill. Hello, Bill.
Hello, Chris. I really appreciate you dragging those 40 mobs onto my head, as well as the AoE insect damage too. That's team play there if I've ever seen it.
Well, you know what? There was some thought behind it. I was trying to go back there to revive you, and did not succeed. I'm sorry. I'm trying to take out... Oh, gosh, those frickin' flying animals. Hi, how's it going, though?
Really good. Really good. It's for those of you that haven't figured it out yet, we are in the middle of Guild Wars 2 Heart of Thorns launch week here. Leonor and Harry both had prior engagements. I think they're purchasing lingerie together. So we're going to duo this podcast, and we figured if we're going to duo, let's duo in Guild Wars 2.
And you know what? Duo is the right word to use, because that means two. And we've got two groups of people that contact us when we do these live stream and news discussion podcasts. Pretty much equally, half of you hate every single second of these podcasts, and a full half of you absolutely love it and want to see more.
To be fair, part of the problem is we're not very good at multitasking. And we should give that little disclaimer right up the front. We're learning to play and podcast at the same time. This is a uncommon, little bit new experience for us, and we're trying.
I think we're doing pretty good so far. We are like a whole 2 minutes in, and we haven't stumbled yet. Well, you did die, but there is that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm focusing on the podcast. I'm not. I'm not focusing on the game. You, Chris, and our listeners have my 75% of my attention, at least.
You know, I made sure I had stone skin on here, so if I need to do something very specific, I can pop my cooldown. Rite of the Great Dwarf is what it's called. It is a stone skin. Ooh, we're going to go up and do a wyvern.
Well, kill a wyvern, not do a wyvern. That's a totally different quest.
Wow. Oh. Well, I'm going to the wrong place then. This is the wyvern I was talking about. In the pre-show, Bill and I were talking about what we have been doing, and I mentioned that I had done this other wyvern that I had not done yet. I did it just the other night, and this is not the big wyvern that most people have been fighting in the middle of the canopy section of the map. I hope I make this downdraft. Thank you very much.
I don't think I'm going to fight in this.
Oh, did you fall?
No, I don't have the updraft mastery yet.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're not going to be able to do, like, poop all. Like, at all. So that you get to drive the show at this point. Bill, what have you been doing in-game?
Well, for me this week, it's been, shock of all shocks, it's been Guild Wars 2, and a little bit more Guild Wars 2. The new expansion I am just in love with. This is the correct expansion for Guild Wars 2. It's fun. It's huge. I know there was a lot of concerns that people were that it was going to be a light expansion, like light on content, not a lot of things to do. I can't even keep track of all the things I have to do. It's really good. So, and for the flip side of that too, there was a lot of concern that it wasn't necessarily going to be worth the money for the expansion, and it totally is.
Right.
This is a good bang for your buck expansion, and we complained about the cost of the expansion a lot. It doesn't matter. It's good. It's worth it.
So what have you been doing though during this week of the expansion for our Guild Wars 2 players?
So the first thing that I've been working on has been is my Revenant. I actually rolled up a Revenant. I power leveled it, and when I say power leveled it, I cheat leveled it up to 80 by consuming leveling scrolls and everything like that. I've been actually doing the story quest, the season 1 story quest on my Revenant, because I just feel like I need to do that. So I've been doing that with Asani and having a lot of fun getting that kicked off. In the meantime, I've also been playing my Thief for the New World content, because there's no way I was going to miss out on the new maps or anything like that. And it's very good. I've got my elite spec unlocked. We're going to talk about that here in a little while. And it's been a lot of fun. The new elite spec for the Thief is even thiefier than it ever was before. Basically, it's all about bouncing around. If you're standing still as a thief, you're not doing it right. Or as the newspeak, the Daredevil. Sorry.
As I was gonna say, is that's the Daredevil, or is that just any?
Well,
thief?
really, it's any thief, but it's even more so with the Daredevil. So that's been a lot of fun. I've been noticing that the mastery system is very grindy. I am not leveling very quickly at all with this. So this might be a bill thing, or it might be a mastery level thing, but I'm still stuck at level 2 or mastery level 2. I don't have all the gliding abilities or anything like that. And I mean, I have been playing tons, but it's not like I've been playing just a tiny bit either. So there is some grindiness to it. Some will say that's a good thing in the sense that it's gives some extra life to the expansion. You're not going to blow through the content in a week, but at the same time, it's hard. The bar moves so slowly compared to leveling a character in the old world. So
now I want to dig into that a little bit, because that's actually my major complaint about the expansion is the grindiness of it. This is definitely a long burn. No, that's not what I want to do. There we go. This is a long burn expansion. Yep. This is not, you don't get a lot out of this expansion in quick bursts. So if you're looking for new stuff or the new awesome or the new shiny or anything like that, you're not going to get it right away. And I think that's a failing of the expansion, because you've got a lot of people like myself. I'm not the most hardcore Guild Wars 2 player. You are a much more consummate Guild Wars 2 player than I am. You play much more than I do. You know the game much more than I do. So I feel like I'm sort of speaking for the more casual players, or the players who have taken a bit of a break from the game coming back. And you don't get much right away. The Revenant is there, right? If you choose your Revenant, and I've actually grabbed some video of everyone around the bank in Redasum all consuming our leveling scrolls, and what that looked like. And I feel like, wow, I gotta grind now. If I don't play tons, this is not gonna keep me interested.
There's a lot that's not grinding still. Like I see, that's the other thing. Guild Wars 2 grinding is not like other games. Guild Wars 2 grinding is not go kill 10,000 rats and then come back later. You're doing stuff. You're doing events. You're traveling. You're discovering the world, more so than most MMOs. So there's that little caveat. I don't disagree with you. Obviously, like I said, it is the grindiest Guild Wars 2 that I've ever done, but it's still better than most grinds.
I talked to you about it. I talked to Harry about it. The first few nights, I wasn't really even I won't say that I wasn't loving it. I wasn't even really enjoying it for the first few nights. I think I'm having more fun with it now that I've gotten a little further along. Like, it took me forever to get my regular glider pack. I'm dead. I'm gonna. Oh no! Wait, I caught an updraft! Yay! Go, Chris. But it took me forever just to get my glider, which is absolutely necessary.
Oh yeah.
Before the zone even becomes anything but a huge frustration, and that's another thing. It should be okay for that first little while. It shouldn't be, oh wow, I hate this game until I get my glider, which is kind of what it felt like.
Well, and that's just math. Like, you shouldn't be playing this zone without your glider impacted. Like, there's so much.
But it took me a few hours to get enough XP to get my glider. That was 2 painful hours. Should there be 2 painful hours, and should I just be expected to say, oh, well, that's just the game?
I don't know if it was painful. I actually enjoyed wandering around. The whole zone was still new to me at that point, so it felt
horrible to me.
I disagree.
Like, I
disagree.
Because the verticality of it, you need to have the movement to be able to survive. Just the falls.
Well, don't fall. Like, for me, I found a good path in the verdant brink, and maybe I was a little lucky because there was a good event chain going on, but I just followed a Zerg for, I don't think it was even 2 hours. I think it was just an hour, and I got through that first mastery level easily. After that is when it was really hard, but...
Yeah. I was just kind of going around doing my own thing, and it was not a pleasant experience at all. Love to hear what our listeners think, though, who are Guild Wars 2 players, and what their experiences were, whether you're sort of with Bill and, you loving every second of it. I'm enjoying, I will say this, I'm enjoying it much more now than I was at the launch. Like, I played for a little bit that first night after we recorded. I regretted it. I regretted the lack of sleep the next day. Like, and not just because I was tired, but because the fun that I had was non-existent. So it totally wasn't worth the time staying up.
Yeah.
I don't.
To be fair, it was a bad time to get started. It was that was too late. I was already tired, but I just didn't have it in me to say no. I can't play right now.
Yeah.
So the good thing is, I'm mastery level 3 now, so now I can do updrafts. Anyway, so
are you going to come back?
I'm going to try to. Anyway, I think the big thing that I'm kind of noticing now is that the game needs almost a to-do list. Like, they actually have a pretty good hero journal and everything like that. The way it's set up right now, but you almost need a checklist of things that you want to do. And I feel like I'm getting into productivity now, and it should be the Guild Wars 2 by Microsoft Office, but it needs something like that. So anyway, so that was me.
But you say that in a good way.
Oh yeah, totally.
To me, that does not sound good.
No, that is absolutely a great thing as far as I'm concerned, because again, that was the real concern about this expansion, was that people weren't going to have enough to do.
Time to go jumping, Bill.
Do you have busy falling to the bottom canopy here? I did.
Oh, I thought you were going to say falling to my death. I'm like, well,
I missed.
Welcome to this expansion.
I missed my jump.
Oh. I do like this wyvern fight that we're doing right now. For those of you who are just kind of watching partially, or, just jumping in now, what you have to do is you fight the wyvern, which all of the wyverns tend to have this cone AoE, like ground attack, and then they have, little spots that they can lay down. But the thing about this particular fight is that he puts up a shield at times. And, I'm not going to make any updrafts.
Anyway.
Or am I? Anyways, he puts up the shield, and you have to go fly around to the bottom parts of this area to get the eggs that drop the shield. And so that's what I'm doing right now, although I fell, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it back. But anyways, back
tell
on
me
track.
What else you've been playing, because you're the only person who's played anything but Guild Wars 2 this week.
Oh, Sword Coast Legends. I've been working on the story for Sword Coast Legends and having an absolute blast. That is a fun time.
So what have you been playing? The single player, or have you been dungeon building?
Single player. I've done some dungeon building as well. I've got a rough one. Boy, do I get frustrated with that dungeon builder.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's too bad.
Well, it totally is, because you can't do everything that the developers have done in building stuff. They didn't give you all their tools. You've got a limited tool set. So it's fun enough. Oh, I'm at the wrong wyvern. I don't want to be at this wyvern. First world problems. Back down I go. So yeah, it's fun. I've been playing through the single player campaign. I made myself a pally, and he is an absolute blast. Really enjoying it. The story is awesome. There's some little bits, frustrating UI bits, some design decisions with the way you follow quests and stuff like that I'm not super keen on, but the story is more than making up for it. And the actual combat and getting through the world is more than making up for it. So really, really, really enjoying that. Highly recommend it for anyone who's looking for a great single-player RPG that you can play with your friends. Multiplayer RPG.
I can't believe I haven't played it, but...
Oh, man. I thought you and Asani would be in there.
I thought so, too, and then Guild Wars 2 happened, but...
Just sad. Makes me sad, Bill.
So...
yeah, so that's basically what we have been playing in game. I want to take a quick second to thank our sponsors, all you fine folk who are our patrons for the show. Thank you so much. And I just died. Darn it. We really appreciate you taking the time and supporting our network. We love everything that we do, and we're really happy that you enjoy it as well. If any of you want to check out the Patreon campaign, go to patreon.com/MMO Reporter, and you can check out what's going there, as well as our back rewards and all that sort of stuff. So now, let's move things along to the news.
Just pew pew and think you'll last the fight and anger me. Wipe the group and never clear the rain. More than deeds is all you have to do to make the raid. Then you wouldn't be a noob and you'd pew pew, 'cause you didn't wipe the group.
All right, Bill, we have got some Star Wars The Old Republic news. Why don't you let us know what's going on with that game?
Pretty straightforward. Star Wars unfortunately picked the wrong moment for me to release their expansion / major patch / whatever they want to call it. It's out. It's apparently receiving pretty high praise. It basically, what they've done is they've split Star Wars into its new story. So the old world doesn't really apply very much. You're playing kind of a new storyline, a new character. You have to kind of recover all your companions. It's just a different experience. The sad thing that comes with the new expansion is that the 12 times experience story quest has gone away. So boo. But they've got the new 11 new chapters in the story quest already released, with more coming. I believe they've had two or three more that they're actually advertising for, so that's pretty exciting. They've got Star Fortresses, which is actually a really interesting take on content. Basically, what they're doing is they're setting up these instant type areas that are both single player experiences, like you can run them as single player experiences, but they scale up into those heroic 2+ levels as well. So it's still meant to be small group content, but it's still group content. You can still do it. So it's kind of a neat concept. Yeah, what else? What else is new in there? Couple new companions. The expansion is actually, well, it's free, quote unquote free. If you're a subscriber to the Old Republic, you get the expansion for free. So I don't know what happens after the release. If you just subscribe for a month, you get the expansion forever, or it's only available to you while you're a subscriber. I have to look into that a bit, but it looks like it's going to be a good run. So. And when I'm purging Guild Wars 2 from my system, I'll probably give it a try.
You know, and I think the biggest compliment I've heard about this particular update is that it is a return to BioWare-style storytelling, which is a huge compliment and something that some of the content for SWTOR got away from a little bit. So this is another one of those games. I got my Neverwinter fix. I dug into Neverwinter quite a bit. I still need to get my character up to max level, which I want to do desperately. But the other one that I want to do after that is I want to dive back into SWTOR, and I want to get myself all the way through all of the content that I've missed, because I played that game a lot. I got a level 50 at the time, Guardian Jedi, and I loved it, and it was fun, and I just got into other games. I just didn't have the time for it anymore. So I have heard such wonderful things. I love the trailers for this new content patch, so I desperately want to get in there and play it. It really looks interesting.
I remember you actually lasted longer in Star Wars than any of us on the show. So that'll be a good run. So check it out. If you're not into Guild Wars 2 and you're into free expansions that come with your subscription, there's your option.
There you go. Fun. All right, what's next on the docket for us tonight?
Well, the next thing is, believe it or not, Guild Wars 2. We wanted to talk about, actually, in addition to releasing this gigantic expansion that we're playing still, they also have already done some pretty heavy-duty tuning to it as well. Like they after release, people were really commenting, concerned about how grindy it was. Case in point, everyone on this podcast. One of the grinds that everyone was really concerned about was the elite specialization. Now, just to clarify for the non-Guild Wars 2 people out there, the elite specialization is basically a whole new specialization line that they added to each class. So imagine your basic class had 4 lines: protection, fury, healing, and stealth, because warriors usually have stealth. Now there's a whole new line that's just a whole bunch of meta abilities that kind of combine what your class was already good at and then enhanced it a little more. That's essentially what the elite specializations for most of the classes in Guild Wars 2 are. So great, very excited. People were super hyped about these elite specs, except we found out about 3 days before the expansion, or a week before the expansion, that the amount of training that would be required to do them was off the wall. You'd be pretty much finished the expansion by the time you started playing your elite specialization. And a lot of people really didn't like that. So what the Guild Wars 2 or the ArenaNet came back to it within like 4 days. They actually instituted a balance patch that cut the cost of these elite specializations almost in half, from 400 hero points to 250, which is really significant because in order to, like, for kind of comparison's sake, the old world, like if you'd completed every single map in the old world, that would give you 200 hero points at the time that the expansion launched. So, or actually just over 200. I think it was more like 220 or something like that. Anyway, so essentially when you came into Heart of Thorns, you would have to play the map a bit to get started, but what you'd need to do to get your elite specialization should have been less than an hour of work if you had a quote unquote complete character from the first season or from the initial launch of the game. So this is now, it's a lot more alt friendly, which Guild Wars 2 really depended on. I have, what am I at? I think 6 level 80s now in Guild Wars 2. So having, or 7 now actually, because of my Revenant.
Wow.
So It's a
That's a
lot. Well,
lot.
it's a lot, and you know what? It was really daunting. I was half considering deleting most of my characters because just looking at the math of it, there was no chance I'd ever be playing long enough that I could even get them to their elite specialization. So I'm loving this change. Now, in addition to that, they also changed the some other event launching features in the game. What they call adventures were previously being locked by a lot of content that required map collaboration and good timing and that kind of thing, but they were still solo adventures, solo events that you would do for fun. Fun and also competition, because they're actually tracking leaderboards for these quote unquote adventures. So they've unlocked
Right.
a bunch of them and made them far more accessible. They've also fixed a major population bug that was happening that was actually making these gigantic new maps feel empty. Because I think what they basically found is they were putting the same population caps on these monstrous zones that even in just surface area are still bigger than any other zone in Guild Wars 2. But when you add 3 different biomes to the zone, they're gigantic. So they're tweaking
Right.
the mega server technology there to fix that. So and again, this is 4 days into the expansion. This is them gathering basically feedback from the first weekend of play and responding to it right
Yeah.
now. So whether you like the changes or not, I'm really impressed with their responsiveness so far.
That's really cool. And I think I can totally understand the people who were thinking, oh, I wanted to, I wanted to play my elite specialization when I got this expansion. That's why I got this expansion. I wanted to play this new. I did not connect at all that there would be so much that you would you would have to unlock that first step before you'd be able to use that extra weapon, or before you'd be able to do this or that. I thought, oh, you know what? You're going to get into the expansion, you're going to get your elite specialization, and then you work through it. And I still don't understand why it's not like that. Oh, I want to try out the new specialization? Sure. I can use the new weapon, and then I unlock all the abilities.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
And they did mention that they didn't really communicate that very well. I think one of the reasons they made the change that they did was because that it wasn't very clear that this is what you would have to do. I think a lot of people thought that they would be able to just log in and play their elite spec. So, but they intended to make this a difficult run for people. So, which is fine. I don't necessarily need it handed to me on a silver platter or anything like that. But that was also one of the big features. Was I really liked the idea of turning my thief into something even more bouncy and more fun and crazy and everything like that. So,
well, there's no reason that totally training the specialization shouldn't be a huge amount of work and a real accomplishment, but just simply unlocking it, nah, I don't buy into that. I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah. So,
but that's just
so.
me.
Anyway, as we said, there was lots of community reaction to this. I think most people have seen these changes as really positive. They're very impressed with ArenaNet's responsiveness. There's a few people that are concerned that they're making it too easy. Like 250 points is actually still a pretty significant thing, I think, for most regular humans. But there's a few people out there that obviously need a bit more challenge, and they want to feel a little bit more oomph with their.
My EP is bigger.
So I don't really want to tease those people like that, because challenge is a good thing. Guild Wars 2 has desperately needed challenging content for a while, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. That said, by the way, this is a really good event chain. So anyway, I still think it's a good run. And I disagree with the people that say it's too easy, because for me, it's really not. But like, it's all about me. It's my show. Guess what? It's about me. So,
exactly.
And what else? There's actually a few people that think that they didn't go far enough, that it's actually too easy now. Or too hard still. Like, they actually want to be able to get all their elite specs like right off the bat, and they just want it to be easy. I think these are the people that wanted that are. I have a feeling posts that I've seen for that are the completionists out there that had 40 alts and now realize that they're going to have to play full time for the rest of the year to get those alts all set up. So,
yeah, I can't imagine the amount of work for getting alts through all those elite specializations.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So
crazy.
Anyway, so that's what's happened there. Good on ArenaNet for jumping on this so quick. And
absolutely,
boy, maybe next week, there'll be a whole new expansion done next week.
Yeah, no, they haven't built a new big red button yet. Colin has nothing to press. So let's talk real quick about our sponsors, shall we? audibletrial.com/MMO reporter. Go check it out. And you too can make yourself a fine purveyor of audio books. And go check those out. Great if you've got a long commute. If you've got, you need something on your bus ride to school or to work, or your subway ride to work, this is a great way for you to get something to listen to while you're going. So go check it out at audibletrial.com/MMO reporter. And of course, all of you are looking for a new PC, and you can do no better than checking out doghousesystems.com. I know Carrie absolutely loves her Doghouse Systems, and I'm a big fan ever since we did a review a few years ago. So go check out doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMOReporter to thank you for using our code. We are going to set you up with a free 120 gig SSD drive. What do you think, Bill? That's a pretty good idea.
It's a nice bonus. You can, geez, what can you install on that? Do you think that's 3 games or 4 games that you can install on 120 gigs these days?
You know what? I'd do like OS. I would focus on OS and just leave a whole bunch of space there, or make it a Steam drive. If you already got an SSD for your main drive, use it as a Steam drive and load all your Steam games.
That's a good idea. I would get a 250 for everything, or maybe even a 500. And then just a Steam drive would probably be a good thing.
Yeah. So go check it out at doghousesystems.com. Steal the thread off of the tank. Overhealing, you'll get no thanks. Too much DPS without a rest. Seeing if your healer is up to the test. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Dumb ways to die. So many dumb ways to die. Jump puzzles that make you fall. Now, Bill, you know what I really like?
Candy.
I like candy, yes, I do. But what else I really like is when games bring back systems that were taken out of the game because they really don't work. That's what I enjoy, don't you?
I feel like you're going somewhere with this.
A little bit. WoW's bringing back Valor.
Yes, they are.
Bill, what the heck are they thinking? Because they took it out for a reason. Because it sucked.
The thing...
Nobody liked grinding Valor.
Yeah, the thing is they're not bringing it back in the form that it was before. It's a whole different thing now. It's basically being used. I think it's earned in similar ways, like by running dungeons and that kind of thing. But the ways to get gear in dungeons, that hasn't changed. What Valor's going to do for you is actually allow you to upgrade gear that you already have. So basically, add levels to stuff that you've already got.
Bill, no. That is completely wrong. You are not feeding into my righteous anger.
Oh, sorry.
You are making facts and reasoned discussion and like a reasonable explanation. That's stupid,
sorry.
Bill.
Should I have... I guess we could make it up and say this is totally the worst thing anyone's ever done. And...
there we go. There we go.
It doesn't make any sense that anyone would ever do exactly what didn't happen.
Thank you, Bill.
So you're absolutely right, Chris.
Hey, and the The other thing too. So basically, this is not the big deal that it could be made out to be, and has been made out to be by some people.
Well, it's curious because it's a functionally different currency than it ever was before, but they're choosing to name it the same that it was back in the day. So to me, that's the interesting thing. Like, why would you choose to? You could argue that it's misleading. You could argue that they're just going for a little bit of nostalgia or something like that. It's weird. I don't understand why they would go with that name. Maybe WoW's been around so long that they just can't think of new names for currency anymore.
So are you saying this was dumb, like completely dumb, or just absolutely stupid?
It's not the choice I would have made.
Yeah. I don't get it either.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing that Blizzard is doing, I forgot to put this in the show notes. They're making a push into esports. I don't have the story right here in front of me, but I know that they just opened up like a whole chunk of the company, a whole division basically, that is going to be focusing on esports. That's kind of interesting.
And it makes sense with Overwatch and that kind of thing, but it's
and Heart of Storm, not Heart of
but not Guild Wars. Jeez, Guild Wars 2 on the brain. Funny that World of Warcraft doesn't really lend itself to esports to me. I don't think it's to me. There's esports require a little bit of athleticism to it. I mean, I realize that's a bit of a funny way to put it, but.
Yeah,
in order to be a good
esport,
I think you've got to have a flexible game. There's got to be some room for creativity. There's got to be a way to kind of do things that seem amazing for viewers and watchers and that kind of thing. If all you're doing is just the same old abilities that's over and over again, which to me, WoW is, there's no real dodging or anything like that. I'm not trying to say WoW doesn't take any skill, because it does, but it doesn't present itself that way. You don't really notice amazing moves in WoW unless you're already a deep seasoned veteran or anything like that.
And arenas never really took off huge as far as that goes. I mean, there are some parts of it, but what I've seen more interest in at BlizzCon, at least, is not big, huge like arena tournaments, but guild speedrun tournaments seem to me to have been a bigger esports-ish thing. And if that's the biggest esports thing, it's not. WoW's not for esports. This is looking at the new properties, the MOBA and the shooter, which has a lot of MOBA elements to it.
Yeah, I could see the dungeon runs maybe being an esport, but that's a big maybe. There's 100 other games that are better at it than that. And in Blizzard's own stable, like I would even argue that Diablo is a better esport game than World of Warcraft lends itself to.
No, I think to be really an esport, you've got to look at some competitive nature of it against other people. And what I find with the PvE runs is that it's not necessarily about being the best. It's about executing a pre-plan the best. And it's not as much about being flexible, like you said, and about reacting to the situation. It's about practicing enough. And yes, all esports have practice. All sports have practice, and that's very required. But it's not the same thing. It's not about move exactly here. It's about, practice to get your skills up high enough. Not practice to get the choreography.
Exactly. It's a bit mundane. I mean, it's almost like being chess. Because you have to be impressed with chess players. It takes a lot of practice, takes a lot of knowledge to do chess well, but it doesn't make it a good sport to watch. Except for really big chess players. It's a very...
Like 6 feet tall?
No, like people who are very keen on chess.
Oh, come on. You know what I did there.
I see what you did there. So,
and you ignored it completely.
Yes, I did. I was letting you have your moment in peace.
Thanks.
Speaking of in peace, CCP's relationship with White Wolf Publishing is resting in peace now.
This makes me happy and sad all at the same time. Happy because White Wolf is moving out of the mire that wasn't any sort of development in CCP's hands, and sad because I don't know what's coming.
Yeah.
And I think I'm such a fan of the World of Darkness game setting, both the games and the pen and paper, like the video games and the pen and paper. And I just want to see something come out of it. And if this move means that we're going to see some, maybe World of Darkness will actually be released. And you found some information over on PC Gamer about this, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they PC Gamer did a little bit of research into this, and the research that Paradox have the research and materials that Paradox have actually acquired include all the MMO development stuff and that kind of thing. So it is in somebody else's hands. So it's in the hands of somebody who might actually do something with it. That's
So they got the assets, not the team, though, right? Because it was a CCP team working on it.
But even then, it was dead in the water at CCP. Nothing was going to happen there. So,
good.
So this is a net positive thing. It's good for White Wolf. It's really good for CCP too, because I think they took a lot of flack for just sitting idly on material that everybody wanted to see. So,
well, you know what? I do think it is a very vocal niche. I don't think that. I mean, the World of Darkness is a very much a niche product, even in pen and paper terms. It is not a D&D, right? It is not a GURP or anything like that. But it's you know what, because it's always hard to talk about games like that, because the people who played them, everybody in their circle played them and everybody in their circle knew them, but the people who didn't play those specific games knew nothing about it. They, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it was a game that everybody knew about, just didn't play.
It's something, well, yeah, exactly. It's something that's, I don't know, I would argue actually it was. I think it is actually a pretty well-known property. Everybody knew what it was, but very few people played it. It was kind of seen as something that the hardcore played. That the accessible one was D&D, and Vampire was the one for the people who were like really serious, like right into the LARPing and that kind of thing. So
once a week, I think it was Sunday nights even, I did this. I managed a movie theater for a while, and I would close up the theater at like 1 or 2 in the morning. Maybe it was Saturday nights. Go to Subway, grab a sub, go over to my friend's house who worked at the theater, and we would play Vampire and Werewolf until 5 or 6 in the morning. No, not even, like 7 or 8 in the morning. And then I'd go home and go to bed. So I guess that makes me hardcore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Hardcore. Yeah. There's.
I don't think anybody else in the world would ever consider even thinking of calling me hardcore. But I'm going to call myself.
You had
hardcore.
your moments. Yep.
I did. Yeah. I am a moment. All right. Moving on. What is the next story?
Well, we just a few quick mentions to get into here. We've got Funcom's The Park has come out. For those of you that didn't know, The Park is a standalone single-player game that's based off of the Secret World gameplay. It's a theme park that actually shows up, I think, in one of the first couple zones in the Secret World. So
it's too bad we don't have Lane on.
Yeah, he'd probably be able to fill us in on that. But anyway, long and the short is that it's basically a chance to kind of dive a little bit deeper into that beginning of the world effect. So that's kind of cool. It's $10, and you know what? Considering how Funcom is doing these days financially, if you're interested in the Secret World and you like what they've put out, this might be a chance to put a little bit of money into their pockets, because I have a feeling they could probably use it. You know what?
Everybody, just go buy the game. I hope it's good, but just go.
I've heard the early reviews have been good, so I haven't obviously played it myself, but other people have said that they've liked it. So
nice. That's good to hear. That is very, very good to hear. And then also released is the new season for Star Trek Online, New Dawn. After the, I believe it's Iconian War that they had in the last season, they are now moving to a new rebuilding and hope-filled time in the world of Star Trek Online. And so you should go check it out. I love this. The seasons is the biggest reason I ever play Star Trek Online. The story missions, they are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. I Star Trek's really fallen off my radar, unfortunately, but it's good that they're still rolling along. I'm happy about that.
They are absolutely still rolling along. And you've got some No Man's Sky.
Yeah, just a quick mention for No Man's Sky. They announced at the Paris Games Week conference that they're going to be releasing in June of 2016. So there's a release month out there. Presumably that means it's going to be coming out on PS4 at least. If I don't know if the PC is going to be launching at the same time. I assume it will be. But
there's a good reason to get a PS4
yeah,
right
there. You go. So it's yeah, there you go. No Man's Sky is a game we've talked about a few times. It's appealing. It's basically looking to launch one step further ahead than Elite Dangerous did in terms of their procedural world development and that kind of thing. So that's kind of cool. And yeah, check it out.
Yeah, but it goes so much further than Elite Dangerous or even what Star Citizen is looking at doing with both the size of the universe. They're calling it a massively single-player game, basically, because you start at a random spot in the universe, and they fully expect that there will be people who will never run into another human being in their entire adventure, because the universe is that big.
I find that cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah. But the question is, are they going to make it so that you can get together easily if you want to? I hope they do. Because sometimes I like it when our ships bump a little bit. It's nice. It's a little friendly. No, it's not. It never is. Don't hit my ship.
You were asking for it. Just floating there.
No, in fact, I believe I was saying, Bill, don't hit my ship. Bill, don't hit my ship. Don't hit my ship, Bill.
Which it really is saying, Bill, hit my ship. You
know we need to work on your English skills.
Me English good. So
my grammar is gooder than yours.
Most gooder.
Most gooder. The most gooder, you might even say.
The megaist gooder.
Oh, and hey, one thing that came out since we made the show notes, Neverwinter Underdark launching November 17th.
Fancy. Oh, so right. That'll be fun.
Yeah, going into Underdark.
More drow, because we don't have enough of that floating around out there right now.
And that was something that in the interview, again, this is a few weeks old now, but I did an interview with Rakosa. No, that was for, not dead. With, I forget who it was, but one of the lead designer for Neverwinter. And we talked about the synergy between all the different Dungeons and Dragons products that are all sort of going in this same way, this Rage of Demons storyline, right? Pen and Paper, Sword Coast Legends, and now Underdark, right? They're all in this same pushing this same vein. The only one that seems sort of out of things here is Dungeons and Dragons Online. Poor DDO.
Yeah, that's what you get DDO. When they're ahead of the curve.
Ahead and behind all at the same time. All right. Any other news that we've got to
That's all about? I've got. I have some contact info.
Wow.
There's some.
Well, why don't you let people know how they can tell us how much they loved and hated this particular podcast?
Well, they can visit MMOreporter.com to check out all the MMO Reporter stuff that's out there, all our brother and sister podcasts, as well as links to everything that gets posted. You can send us an email, mmo.reporter@gmail.com. You can visit us on Facebook, facebook.com/MMO Reporter. You can tweet at any of the MMO Reporters, even the ones who aren't here, either at MMO_Reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, at Leonor for Leonor, or at MMO Bill for yours truly. You can give us a call at 616-666-6778. Leave us a voicemail. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a YouTube jingle. Check out all the videos that we've put up there. We may even put this stream up there. You never even know. YouTube.com/MMO Reporter Network. Especially check out all our PAX coverage there. That's going to be the fun, delicious, exciting part of it. That's actually what I like the best, but then again, I'm biased. So, hi,
biased.
Yeah, very funny. If you're interested in throwing a little bit of support our way, head over to patreon.com/MMO Reporter. Or if you're not into the Patreon style of donations, head over to MMOreporter.com/support for some more one-off types of financial assistance. So all that and still no carrier pigeons.
Still no. Well, that's a technological failing that we need to deal with immediately.
Yes.
Like, what's up with that, Bill? I thought you were on
I am not.
Oh, well, I have to say, Bill, I'm just plain old disappointed.
Yeah, well,
no two ways around it.
Yes, my budget's too small. You need to sell one of the MMO Reporter Ferraris.
Darn it, no. I'm not going to do that. Bill, come find me. I bet you can't find me.
I'm saving the world over here.
Are you still saving the world? I thought we were done saving the world.
Not unless you enjoy being having Mordrum sneak up on you from behind.
Not particularly. Well, thanks everybody for listening to the podcast here, and thanks everyone who downloads and watches the podcast on YouTube or through their favorite podcatcher. We sure appreciate your continued listening to the shows and all the shows on the network. We really appreciate it. We hope that you listen to next week's show as well, but most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.